What's up, gang? Just want to go over my day at the desk and do a quick review of my trades. So again, this market price action is tough, brutal. You know, I can say so many bad things about it, but I guess you just got to find the moves and you just got to be aggressive taking profits, and you can benefit in this price action. But you know, it's a tough go. And if you're learning to trade, don't get down on yourself. This is a great period to be learning through. You know, you're going to take probably a lot more losses than you were expecting, but just remember, you're trading. I've been doing this 14 months, and this is by far the hardest market conditions I've ever traded. Forget about the yen pair and all that stuff in August. And I thought that was a disaster, and the market was crashing and this and that, and this nothing compared to this. So stay disciplined, stay focused, get through this, and you're going to look back and be like, I traded through one of, you know, it's going to be up there with one of the hardest market conditions to trade in. So, you know, be proud of yourself. You made it this far, and if you're watching this video, you're definitely surviving. You're trying to learn new things, and that's all that matters. So let's just get into what I was saying at the desk in the morning, and we'll go over the trades and go over the mistakes I made and the positive things I did. So let's just get into it. I took a trade in the overnight session and the Asian session. So let's just look what happened here. So yesterday, you can see prices holding the value area low, and it got above the value area high, but just kind of chopped in between the value area high and the value area low. So we had what's that, 40-point range, 35-point range. This was just brutal price action yesterday. What happened here in the overnight is we got this gap down. I don't know if the bearish sentiment's kicking back in again, but you know, the euphoria of this making these new higher lows and higher highs was probably wearing off. So as you can see, we gap down, we push lower here. We stay below the start of day VWAP. I decide to take a trade later here. We'll get into that. And then when I got back to the desk this morning, you can see we had this spike up here, and this was on news that China was ready to work with the US on tariffs. And in the London session, they just pumped this good. And you can see we get up to the value area low, and then it just rejects off of that level. But we stay above the start of day VWAP. So, you know, if this news is what it is, again, we set in a higher low. Let's just see what the news is, and let's see what hashes out into the New York session. And you know, we're above the start of day VWAP. So I could say long bias, but you know what? To be honest, I'm looking at any which direction, whichever I can catch a move. I'm gonna look at that and go from there. So let's get into the actual trades themselves. So this was my trade in the overnight session, and it was a bit of a FOMO late entry. You know, I put one micro, and this is the issue with trading micros. You put a single micro on, and you technically don't have a lot of risk on, but it's more of a psychological thing. So I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not trading the Asian session. I'm not trading one micro like this. I'm not looking for moves, and you'll see as we go through this trade how it was an absolute kick in the balls. So I look to get short here on the break of the low at day VWAP. We've made this low. We gap down here. You know, I'm looking at Bookmap, and I'm seeing orders down at 50. I'm seeing orders down at 20, and I think orders down at 5,300. So I'm just playing around. I'm being silly. I'm being goofy. I'm going to throw a micro on, and I'm going to see as the night goes on and progresses before I go to bed what happens, and I'll close it in profit. I'm thinking that it's going to do this. It's going to come back up here, and it's going to push down again, and I'm going to take profits in here. But the crazy thing about it is when I look at it in the bigger picture, I'm going to be taking $50, $100 profit. Like for what? For what? For nothing. I got a 20-point stop. It's $100 of risk. So I want to be above here because in the Asian session, it gets quite rangy, and it'll do that, and it'll just stop you out all over the place. So I wanted to make sure everybody was going to get, stopped out right there. So if I wanted to bring this up a little bit, I put it above this higher low here, or lower high here, thinking that, you know, that the algos or the market's going to push it up. You're going to get stopped out, and it's going to make a move down. And what happens? Lo and behold, price turns around on me right away on my entry. What I didn't realize is here, this red line is the tariff news VWAP from last Wednesday when they announced that the tariffs were going to be a pause. And you can see clearly, like, look at that. To a T, the sellers try to force it through that tariff VWAP, and they just can't. So it rejects off of there, chops up here. You know, my evening goes on, I have dinner, do whatever I have to do. And then before bed, you know, as we start to get below the start of day VWAP again, I end up moving the stop down to here because I just don't want to. I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to leave this trade on. The problem with leaving it on is I never put a limit order in, because with Tradeivate, I don't like to have a floating limit order in case I get stopped out and it gets picked up, and it can blow my account. I've had this happen in the past with Apex challenges, so it's just not something I'm comfortable doing. And as you can see, I go to bed, Here probably. What happens? Straight down. Price pushes straight back up, straight down again. And what happens here into the London session? News comes out that the Chinese are ready to work with the US on tariffs, and boom, I get stopped out. I'm down $70. Just a waste of $70. Straight up. No ifs, ands, or buts. If I wasn't willing to have a limit order and taking profits there, what am I doing? So just a stupid trade. Not going to be trading the Asian session or anything that I can't manage in Tradeify where I have to have a limit order. It's different with Project X, and that's the beauty of Project X, is you can set a take profit with your stop, and as soon as the trade hits either one, it closes everything out. You have no floating orders. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful software for doing stuff like that. So anyways, I'm down on the funded account. I'm down $70. It is what it is. Let's get into the next trade. And then come into the New York session. You know, I'm still holding on to that loss a little bit, so I decide not to trade that account right away. I decide to switch over to my TopOne account. And as you can see, the sellers take control here, and we get below this. Again, I'm watching this tariff VWAP. We get below it. We get below the opening range low. I didn't think to get in here because it's the first break, but now I'm watching NQ take its opening range low here. And you know what? I'm going to scalp this. I'm going to go, and I have a ton of drawdown in this account. I want to size up. I'm going to cut this if we get anywhere back up here. I have a stop up here just for safety if some weird news pin or something comes in, but I'm going to cut this fast depending on how it reacts. I get in short here. We get this push down. I lock my stop here because I'm trailing it aggressively as it's the first break of the opening range, and we could just easily have it come back in. This could just be the first break and then back into the opening range and then out this way. So trail my stop, price turns around, I get stopped out there. I'm up 225. I'm 100% good with it. Even though we had this second move down, I do not care. I'm okay. That's the amount of risk I wanted to take. I'm good with it. I'm good with that reward. She done. And so I'm up 225 in that account, and then we'll switch over to the next trade. And this is where things kind of spilled over from the Asian session. So now I'm back wanting to trade that Tradeify funded account and get back that $70 loss. And what do? I think I'm going to do the same thing I did here and try and scalp this down. And I'm going to scalp here. So what I do is I put on 5 micros just so I don't have to catch. I can catch, 5 points, 10 points, and I'll be good with it. And, not realizing the mental aspect of this, that now that the trade has turned around on me, I'm down now in this account that I have $1,500 of drawdown. I'm down to around 900 or probably $1,000 or something, but that's when I realized that, hey, I'm in way too heavy. What am I doing? The buyers hold this low a day VWAP beautifully here. They dance around up here, and then you're getting these pins, and it's just, the buyers are just, every time the sellers want to do something, the buyers step back in, and I think if this takes this, it's gone. I cut the trade. I'm done. I'm out. It was just about too heavy of a size. If I was in 2 micros, I could have let this play around here and come back, and maybe I would have got out at a break even there. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. I close the trade here, and I'm down 373. So you add that to the 70, I'm down 450 or something in the account, and that's basically 30% of my drawdown in that account. So a little bummed out, but again, just 5 micros was too much in that account, and I've only been trading 2 micros in that account. So it just goes to show you that just the mental aspect of trying to get losses back. And I come into my 4th trade here, and this, I just taken my TopOne funded account. And again, I'm watching this news VWAP, and you can see we pin it here nicely, but we hold the New York VWAP, and we hold this opening range low. Now we've made this higher low here. This is our low a day. I'm thinking this is going to want to come higher now. It's just something's got to give. And the sellers are eventually going to get exhausted because here they couldn't make it past here. So, they're running out of steam. We get this move, chops around in here. But again, we're just holding the New York VWAP beautifully. So I'm not one bit worried. I'm going to cut this down here. Not down here, because if we take this opening range low, New York VWAP, high a day VWAP, low a day VWAP, what is that telling you? Sellers are going to take this thing over and run with it. So we get a push up and see we reject off this news VWAP, the tariff VWAP again, come back down, hold the New York VWAP beautifully. We push up higher on this move through, start a day VWAP. I take 3 off here. I should have took it all off there, but you know what? I was thinking that it was going to do something like this and go like that. So I move my stop up into profit. What happens? It comes back around. I get stopped out here. I should have left my stop down here. And when we go into the last trade, I'll show you what I did, and that's kind of the thesis behind this. That as long as we stay above, we got to give it some room to play around and dance here, and it's going to eventually take off. I'm up 123 in the 150K account. I'm good with it. I'm up 331 or something in that account. I locked it out. I'm done for the day. This price action is just not being very friendly, right? So you gotta know when to fold them. And yeah, so that was went 2 for 2 in that account, and that's how I want to trade. Just base hits, stacked up 350 bucks basically, and I'm done for the day on that one. And then the last trade I took, this trade, you can look at it any which way you want. Did I need to trade it? Did I not need to trade it? So what I did here is my original thesis was this is going to want, if we can hold this tariff VWAP, and we can take the start of day VWAP, we're going to get a push higher. This is, the buyers are this is basically a knife fight here, and the buyers, they're holding their ground. I think they're doing a better job than the sellers. So I want to get back in my Tradeify account. I'm 33% of my drawdown was the last 2 trades, but I said, you know what? I'm going to put 2 micros. I'm going to put a 10-point stop, hard stop, no ifs, ands, or buts. We cut all these VWAPs. I want out. So I got $100 of risk on this trade. And I'm going to take that risk at this point because I'm in that much drawdown in that account. And you know what? I'm really convicted in this thesis. Get 2 micros on here. And what I did this time was locked my stop at 10 points. I walked away from the desk. I didn't micromanage it. I didn't do anything. I went and did some stuff with Miles and Hillary and hung out for a few minutes. And when I came back to the desk, I literally got back to the desk right here as this candle pops. This candle pops. I bring my stop up now. And this next candle opens, we get this pop higher. I take full profits here, 235. I could have took another maybe 50 bucks, 100 bucks. I don't care. This was a big enough move for me, 23.5 points. I can't be greedy in these market conditions. Took my profits there, and I basically got back half of that loss from the morning. And look what happens. Imagine I held on and it came back down, and then I'm like, oh, it's going to do this, and I held on again. And it came back down. Oh, it's going to do this. You know what I mean? Before you know it, you're back at break even. You're getting stopped out. So this is how I want to trade. This is my textbook style of trading. Full in, full out, waiting for the setup, being patient, watching price action, setting the stop, walking away for a minute, letting myself cool down, and just worked out perfectly. So a nice end of the day. Tough day, tough day, but a good end to the day. And looking at the calendar, here we are. I'm still up on the week. I'm still green. It's been a grind. I had this loss here, small green, did better yesterday. And then today was, another grind, but still small green. So I'm up on the week. We got one more trading day tomorrow. Let's finish the month solid and go from there.